just taking you in. Because the story of the drum is not just about what I want to tell you, it's also about what you want to tell me. In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was sound. I want to invite you as you listen, don't just listen to me to hear what I want to tell you. I want to invite you to listen to what comes up for you. As people, African heritage people, we live from a place of community. And funny enough, I've been playing the djembe drums now maybe, about 30 years. But I recently found out, maybe about 2 months ago, that djembe actually means coming together and be at peace, be in peace. So every time we play the djembe drum, we are creating a space for peace. My name is Anifuwose. I was born here, grew up in Nigeria, moved back to UK, and then moved to America, and then came back over here. And when I think of my journey, it's a journey of belonging, displacement, and identity. The drum has taught me a lot. No one taught me how to play the drum. I just knew I could play the drum. But I was in my 20s, 23, 24, before I actually played a drum. When I was in Nigeria, there was these two brothers. Oh my God, the things that they do to that drum, I was remembering saying, I'm not going near that drum because I'm going to make a fool of myself. Those brothers were amazing. But when I finally got to the point of allowing myself to listen to the message that the drum has for me, it's actually fair to say it changed my life. I describe myself as a sacred drum. Because for me, drumming is a spiritual experience. And earlier when we were drumming, there were some sisters dancing. They were sending that sound vibration back to us. As they sent it back, I was feeling things in my body that they were feeling as they were dancing. Those of you who were lining up to eat. The drum is about sound. It is about vibration. It is a reminder that the sound in us is looking for a place to be expressed. We all know that as African people, anything we do, someone is drumming. Whether it's a ceremony, a naming ceremony, a wedding, a funeral, it's a call to go to war, it's a way to communicate with one another. I want to invite you today to ask yourself, what is your story? And how are you expressing your sound vibration? I was part of an event, was it last week? Last week or 2 weeks ago, I don't remember. But I was one of the panelists. And one of the conversations that came up was, the answer is we must return to Africa. And as black people, we gotta return to Africa. And I remember listening and thinking, yeah, for some people, because there were Africans who ain't trying to go back to Africa. There are people who were born here who ain't trying to go to Africa. But the thing that I share that I think is important as I tell you the story that the drum wants to speak today, we can physically go to Africa, like move location, but we must also remember we are Africa. We are it. Everything that made you who you are today was passed down to you from your ancestors. And the drum always takes us back home. We're not just representing our ancestors. We are representing our ancestors. We are representing them. We can't do it the way they did. We're here to represent them in a new way. Drumming goes way back. And I even kind of, as part of my research, tried to figure out when was the first drum ever created, designed. I couldn't find anything. But that's like me asking, who was my first ancestor? We're going to end up in a place beyond numbers. The drum is the original AI. It's the original AI, but there's nothing artificial about it. It is ancient intelligence. Everything that we see, that we hear about, the artificial intelligence, whether it's a computer, whether it's a phone, is a representation of who we are. For something to be artificial, it's obviously expression of the original. So when you hear the drum, you hear the bass, think of your mother. Think of your heartbeat. The sound of the drum will call people from places. People just walk towards the drum. When we were playing earlier, there were people looking through here. It's a universal language. So I want to invite you. I don't have to tell anybody what to do. It's an invitation. You get to say yes or no. I want to invite you. Whenever you hear the sound of the drum, you're being called to tap in. The universal language of the drum connects us with the great I am, with the divine, with the Mother, Father, God. It goes beyond language. Even though I call it universal language, it's a different kind of language that when you feel it, you know it. So much so that every cell in your body is celebrating. There's a lot of conversation about mental health. The drum is a shaman, and it heals. It balances the brain. It takes us back to that parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest, that place where you have no need to fight. You have no need to run. You have no need to freeze. You relax. The story of this drum and the question that is asking, how are you celebrating your existence? You celebrate your existence by defining to yourself who you are. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. It doesn't matter what the label is. It's what you answer to. But when we don't know who we are, they're calling me this, they're calling me that. Those Maryland farmers are going to keep calling you what they want to call you. Figure out what I just said there. That's what you're going to get, Maryland farmers. Look at the letters. They're going to call you what they're going to call you, but it doesn't matter when you represent your ancestors and you tap into the rhythm. Tap into the rhythm. rhythm of your body. Everything is moving. Even while you're sitting, there's movement happening. There's a vibration happening within you. The drum is inviting you to call yourself forth and show up and tell your story. Tell your story. Tell your story. Write the book. Start the podcast. Yes, everybody else is doing it, but they can't tell the story like you do. There's so much that we have to tell and share. The opposite of war is what?
Peace.
Peace?
Peace.
That was a test. Yes, and the opposite of war is creativity. Chew on that. Creativity. What does war do? It destroys. Creativity gives birth. Now here's the thing. The strongest energy wins. We experience a war all over the world. We can waste our creative energy and say, I can't believe they're doing this. We have to support them. Why are they doing this? They be doing... No, bring your energy back to yourself. Remember who you are and represent your ancestors, the ones who stayed alive long enough for us to be here today. No matter the condition, the drum is calling you back home to yourself. If you have a drum, please don't have books on your drums at home. People use it as decorations. Play it. And don't lie to yourself by saying, I can't play. Yes, you can. Just keep playing till you find the rhythm. And if you don't want to play because you're too grown, get it for your niece, your nephews, your children. The drum is healing. The drum, when it shows up, the pressure runs like roaches. When you hear the drum, when people hear the drum, when you drum, there's a sense of community. There's a sense of connection. We're reminded that we're part of something greater. And we are more invisible than we are visible. Every culture, every tradition has their own type of drums. But all of it taps into that universal mind. Let us not be limited by other people's stories. Let us not be limited by what they told us. You have access to the Most High, to God, to the divine, the universe, whatever name you want to call it. You have access to the divine right now. You are actually the divine in a physical body. You are God looking at another God. If that makes you uncomfortable, take a deep breath and dance. You are here to create. You are here to tell a story. You are here to represent your ancestors in a new way. There is a reason we are here. There is a reason we are in this country. Not to complain, but to continue to tell the story that the divine wants to speak to humanity. It's time to wake up and show up and show out. Sometimes it's scary, but when you allow yourself to walk that path, you tap into a vulnerability. I'm not talking about the human vulnerability, I'm talking about spiritual vulnerability. That what you think, all the things that you're worried about, they can't match your new energy. The drum is inviting you, me, us, to sing our song. It's all about sound and vibration.